Welcome to next session on the subject of signals and systems. Now we are in an interesting mode where we are discussing the core things. What these lectures would be core basis for your entire, what we can say, career in the concept of system handling. It is universal, not specifically limited to electronics. It will be required by you in digital signal processing, it will be required by you in control systems, or it's what we can say, even as a general engineering aspect, this is most important. So what we discussed is that with the example of the it is the perfect example of a system wherein output is expected to be sometimes input. Theta t must be equal to k into v in t, or theta ot, where output is theta angle and input is voltage. I have chosen the parameters such that input parameter chosen can vary rapidly and output parameter chosen cannot vary so rapidly. Therefore, the relationship expected for any system, that theta ot is equal to something which is called as gain constant into v in t, is impossible. And when this is system, and then when it is impossible, we noted that what is theta ot is weighted sum. Sum is a debatable word because it is a continuous thing, so it is integration rather. Weighted sum of all previous inputs. Or in fact, to this week, this is the last one, an intermediate step. I will write earlier to that. Just recap of last lecture things. We expected this should happen. Theta ot is equal to a into v in t. It cannot happen because of inertia, and so what happens is theta ot is equal to a into weighted, or rather we started with output is, ideally speaking, output is expected to be sometimes input, which can't happen. So output is sometimes average of previous inputs. Now, what kind of average it is? What kind of average it is? It has to be not plain average, but weighted average. Weighted average. And then if I take A multiplied, then instead of average, weighted sum. Now this is not so easy to understand. I will explain it by considering simple examples. So, theta ot, or in general we can consider it as yt, right? So, output is a variable with respect to time. Output is a variable with respect to time that I will call as generally y is used for output. Y is used for output, yt, and x is used for input, xt. So yt is weighted sum of xt's over a past period. and how the weights are. That I will describe. Now here I would like to adopt a different approach. Our subject consists of continuous and discrete systems. Continuous systems were discussed earlier, means maybe 50-60 years back the concept of discretization was not there. Even though sampling theorem is quite old, which will be covered for you in other subject, but we will try to give glimpses of it. Even though sampling theorem was quite old, the discussion on systems was rather limited or restricted to continuous systems. The concept of discrete systems, and then while implementing it as digital systems, came into picture maybe in 60s, and when digital computers were easily available, from then this entire branch made progress at a rapid rate. Otherwise, even though numerical computation methods was quite a long discussed thing, it was not so, what we can say, used in this subject. But now, since it is available, we can use it for understanding even continuous signal processing. Discussion of continuous systems is otherwise difficult. By taking help of discrete systems, we can discuss it. So now, so in general, so I will explain you in such a manner that even if you decide to forget, you can't forget. The artificial systems, the memory can be wiped off, you can erase the contents, you can program new contents there, you can store new content there. But as in human systems, wiping off is not possible. So I will emboss this discussion on your mental plane in such a manner that irrespective of how strong efforts you do to forget it, you can't forget. So now, in general, we can discuss now. Two-dimensional we can always use, but to explain, I think we can take one-dimensional signal. So, xt is like this, and yt is, say, expected to be 2 times xt. In ideal case, it should be exactly double the graph. But if xt, and this is obviously t, time axis. But if xt is changing, at a rapid rate, then yt, so what is important is, listen very carefully, I am trying my level best. Again by taking help of the voltmeter. In a moving coil, this example I am taking because this is quite simple to implement also if you want to. Or I have explained it in such a manner that there may not be any need to implement. You can understand it by its description only. So, in that what is expected, output at current point yt is solely dependent on, so I am at this point. At this time, this is xt. So yt is determined in an ideal scenario. Current output is determined only by the current input summed into one constant. So Yt here depends only on this xt. So current output depends only on current input. This is an ideal amplifier system. Amplifier need not be increase only. It can be, so in case of voltmeter, the output is a different parameter than input parameter. So an amplifier in general is a multiplier rather. And multiplier also we need not consider it is more than one, it can be less than one also. So in a multiplier system, so essentially voltmeter is a multiplier system where the gain is having a unit of degrees per volt. So A is degrees per volt, and as we discussed specifically 0.1 degree per 10 degrees per volt was the, so 45 degrees for 4.5 volts we discussed there. So Yt exclusively depends on xt, that is ideal scenario, that we cannot have. If we cannot have that, then because of inertia, what this output should be in an ideal scenario, as we discussed, this only depends on this, means this is able to determine this totally in an ideal scenario. Whereas when it can't happen, then what happens is very interesting to be noted down. So in that scenario, the current output is determined collectively by all inputs from now backwards. So what, listen very carefully, this is something which I am trying to emboss on your intellectual plane. Yt depends on all previous xt's. Now here the concept of continuous and discrete will come. How exactly it should be, I will take an example of how this can be explained. Depends on all means what. So what we can do is, let us think in discrete domain. So we have a concept of xn, we discussed it in previous lectures in a different context. What is xn? Xn means xt I have plotted on time axis. So at every time, say time is continuous, at every time there is some temperature at a given point, at every time there is some voltage at given between two electrical points, at every time if you look at voltmeter, the pointer is at some position. So position, voltage, temperature are the signals which exhibit some value for continuous time. But so when I plot this, I consider all values. Depending upon the nature of these signals, this is sampling theorem as required for our general discussion. Instead of observing it or considering its all values, I can sample it. For example, there is a 1-year-old baby and its height is increasing. Height of 1-year-old baby is increasing. Increase of height is also a continuous process. So what you can do, that for a 1-year baby, will you take daily readings of his height, or weekly or monthly. So weekly would be much more, or taking reading of height is something tedious process. Nowadays you are having what the device to measure weight, you are having those devices handy at home, so you can measure weight of baby every week, and based on that you can check whether everything is normal. Instead of that, suppose if there is some kind of tree, fast growing tree is there, which can grow within a month. So for that, taking readings daily or taking reading twice a day, in the morning at 7 a.m., night at 7 p.m. So that would be sufficient. So what I mean is that when we consider input, considering xt always not required, what I can have x instead of xt, wherein I need to go for integration like concept mathematically, derivative like concept. These are somewhat hard to understand. When I come to xn, I am required to deal with sequences, array processing, and that is actually implemented in computer. So at that time, again quantization is done. So continuous, discrete, digital. So what is xn? Xn is x of t at t equal to n capital T. At small t equal to n capital T, where capital T is the sampling interval. Where capital T is a sampling interval, and depending upon whether the systems are rapidly increasing or slowly increasing, you can decide T. So for example, if weight of a baby is an input signal to be monitored, then the capital T can be 1 week. Suppose if height of a fast growing tree is to be considered, capital T can be 12 hours. Suppose if some daily temperature variations is to be considered, then capital T can be 15 minutes. So depending upon that, you can decide the interval. And I can say that for voltage, for our discussion of the moving coil voltmeter moving, we can have capital T sampling interval equal to 1 millisecond, even 1 microsecond in general. So similarly then, Yn would also be y of t at t equal to nt. Then ideally speaking, capital T is very small. To be very precise, it is to be sometimes so as to give feel that it is small. Capital is also alright. To give it as it is small, we can use the interval delta t, sampling interval delta t, and delta indicates it's small, so it is better that while we are writing the expression delta t tending to 0, sampling interval tending to 0, delta t is a better variable name instead of capital T. It depends upon just representation. So in ideal systems, what should happen? For an ideal voltmeter, Yn, that is the deflection of the voltmeter from 0 position in degrees, is equal to 10 times Xm. Is 10 times Xm. Yn is equal to 10 times Xm. But as I had said that this cannot happen because the voltmeter cannot move at rapid. There is some limit on which voltmeter can move. That is on this maximum speed of the movement of the voltmeter, there is some limit that these much degrees within a second. So it can't move beyond that. Therefore, this Yn is equal to 10 into xn is something which can't happen. Then what happens is that once the output cannot depend on exclusive that input, then the question is yn depends on what? So 10 I keep as it is, and then we will elaborate in detail. I hope that the discussion which I am having is very easily understandable by everybody. If this discussion cannot be understood, then there is an urgent need for you to think that you need to revise, you need to look at your own interest, your own desire to understand, because this is something which is quite simple. So yn is equal to 10xn is an ideal scenario, an ideal voltmeter, and obviously it is ruled out. So this can't happen. Then what can happen is yn is equal to 10 into what? So into what is that, now we can discuss, and that is the property of that given system. It's a system property. So our current output, this is y is current output, should be exclusively depend on current input. It cannot depend, so therefore the next way is yn depends on average of xn plus xn minus 1. Then why only plus xn minus 1? Then plus xn minus 2 upon 3. So it depends on the average of current and previous samples. Then what you are today, it's very interesting description. What you are today, that is your current state, current output, depends on what you received earlier in different proportions. Then what you received in last week will matter. What you received in last week will also matter. What you received 1 year back will also matter. So, to be very precise, and again here I am assuming it's plain average, but it can't be plain average. It cannot be plain average. So now this 10 I can take inside. So that is not so important now. So yn is equal to, what will I say? 10 by 3 xn plus 10 by 3 xn minus 1 plus 10 by 3 xn minus 2. Then why 2? You can take one more sample, divide by 4, like that. So in general what it is, I will use this as some constant. So some constant into xn something plus again something into xn minus 1 plus again something into xn minus 2. And as long as y, now you will say that what you received yesterday, there is more impact than what you received earlier. It is possible. So these multipliers are not the same. The multipliers are not the same. They can be changed. So this average is not a. So this is weighted average. This is average. This is sum. This is average, and when we multiply it here, it is sum. Means we do sum and we multiply by something. So average and sum are not so important difference. So in general, this is a sum and we multiply. So it is something into sum of previous inputs, but we need not be doing normal sum. These weights can be different. So in general, it can say, and that I will now use the proper symbols. So this would be weight, and I will use h0 into xn plus h1 into xn minus 1 plus h2 into xn minus 2. Why to 2 plus h3 into xn minus 3 plus h4 into xn minus 4 and so forth. So in general, this is the ultimate equation of any discrete system. Yn is equal to summation of k equal to 0 hk x of n minus k, and this k, an index, can be from 0 to infinity. This k can't be negative, because if k is negative, what will happen? The current output here, current output depends on current input, previous input, previous input. If you go on this side, then it would be a futuristic system, current output depending on future input. It can't happen. So Yn is, this is the called as a discrete convolution equation. So current output is weighted sum of current and previous inputs. Current output is weighted sum of current and previous outputs, current and previous inputs, wherein what is Hn in or Hk in general? Hk, when we go for index, you can use either k or n, and that is an index. So what is Hk? Hk is, listen very carefully, Hk is the weight with which the sample received k samples ago is contributing in determining the current output. So Hk is the proportion with which the input sample received k samples ago is responsible in determining the current output. So Yn is equal to summation Hk x of n minus k as k goes from 0 to infinity, as k goes from 0 to infinity. This is discrete time convolution equation. This is discrete time convolution equation. Now, when we go for continuous things, this equation gets changed to a integration equation. But what I think is that for those who want an equivalence, I will give the equation, but handling discrete time systems is more easier than handling continuous time systems. So in our subject discussion, we will handle the discrete time systems and most of the things of discrete time systems now itself, and then we will, as we progress, we will give their equivalence to continuous time systems. So I will just mention what is yt? Yt is integration from 0 to t h of tau x of t minus tau d tau. So actually from the how to derive, interrelate these two things, it requires a detailed discussion, but instead of that discussion is very interesting, but it becomes highly condensed mathematical discussion. So what that if we discuss it right now, then few may find it is too clumsy, and in fact it is not required for understanding the further concepts also. So with this we will proceed, we will take a break now, and immediately after the break we will proceed for further discussion of systems. So in that we will focus on discrete time systems more.